All right, now we're going to start with accounting for non-current assets, or as we call it, depreciation. Okay, so what is depreciation? Depreciation is essentially the cost of consuming your non-current asset over its useful economic life, all right? So we can also say it's the portioning of the cost over its useful economic. So whenever firms buy non-current assets, I mean like plant and machinery, fixtures and fittings, firms do realize that as they will use that asset, the value of that asset will decline. Even if you go and buy a cell phone and let's say you use it for a month or two, the value of your cell phone has declined. That loss is essentially called depreciation. Now we also need to understand this depreciation is not a cash outflow, right? So no one's essentially asking you to pay for anything. It's an accounting loss, all right? Because you bought an asset, the value of that asset is not as much as it was before, so that becomes your depreciation or accounting loss. But before that, it is essential to distinguish between capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. All right, what are these two expenditures? I'm just going to briefly discuss it. So, what I can say is that a business does purchase resources for the generation of the process. Some of these resources are used up in one time period. For example, goods purchased for resale, petrol, work of staff. Now, all of these examples are again of expenditures that a firm is making. So, what one should think about is how can we differentiate between an asset and an expense? All right. So, for example, buying a car versus filling petrol. What's the difference? I mean, in both cases, you guys can see I'm essentially paying. It's an expenditure for the firm, but we distinguish these expenditures by defining them to be capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Okay, so I can distinguish revenue expenditure and capital expenditure as follows. So I can say revenue expenditure, or we can say in simple words, an expense will be an expenditure where the firm will have to pay for it again and again. It will be a recurring expenditure, and this expenditure should be incurred on day to day operations and maintenance. So, in my example, buying a car versus filling in petrol, you're going to fill in petrol again and again. It's a recurring expenditure, and that expenditure is incurred to maintain or run your car. So that becomes a revenue expenditure or expense. All right, and these expenditures are shown in your income statement. On the other hand, capital expenditure, which are also classified as your non current assets, all right, so they're also your non current assets. These will be a one off expenditure. For example, buying a car, you will just buy your car once, so that becomes a capital expenditure or an asset. A capital expenditure could also be incurred to increase the value of your assets. So, for example, in your office, if you build one more room, that becomes a capital expenditure because the value of your property will go up. So, capital expenditure should be something that is a one off expenditure. It either increases the value of my asset and it will be used for a long term period, let's say a year, 2 year, or like even 5 years in this case. All right, so we should always understand the difference between revenue expenditure expense and capital expenditure non current asset. They both are expenditure, but an expense will be a recurring expenditure, which is revenue expenditure, and a capital expenditure, which is non current asset, should be a one off expenditure. So, if I were to write down the causes of depreciation, that why should we depreciate our non-current assets, some of the reasons that we could think out is number one, wear and tear. So whenever you'll use your asset, the value of that asset should decrease, it will become inefficient, it will be an old asset, and as a result its value should decrease, which becomes your depreciation. Another could be that the technology could become obsolete, there is some new technological innovation. So whenever a new iPhone comes out, you guys will see that the value of the previous iPhone should decrease because the new technology has replaced it. So technological innovation also contributes in causing depreciation of non-current assets. We can also talk about depletion of resources. So for example, if a firm has purchased a coal reserve, right, which also becomes an asset, now the firm will keep on extracting coal reserves from it, but there will come a time that those reserves will deplete. So your asset will eventually decrease and the value will go down as well. That becomes your depreciation loss. So these are some of the reasons why one should depreciate your non current assets. Now let's focus on the fact that how do firms depreciate their non-current assets, and let's learn how to calculate depreciation. All right, so in our course, we will focus on the three methods to depreciate non current assets. One is called the straight line method, which is also called the equal installment method or the constant method over here. The next is reducing balance or the diminishing balance method. And finally, we'll also take a look at the revaluation method. So whenever we calculate our depreciation, we should be consistent in using a depreciation policy because that will allow the firm to compare financial statements over different years. All right. So our policy of depreciating the non-current assets should be consistent over time. Now let's start discussing the first method called the straight line method. The straight line method requires that the same amount of depreciation is charged to the income statement for that non-current asset. So I can say that the straight line method is more useful for assets that will lose their efficiency constantly over time, and it will result in a constant depreciation every year. All right. And the straight line method emphasizes that depreciation should be calculated on the original cost of the asset. All right. So let's do an example.
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover. At Alt Academy, we break down every A-level concept with the same level of clarity. Now, let's continue.
So let's say a firm buys fixtures and fittings worth 50,000 and it decides to depreciate using the straight line method 10% on cost. Now every year the firm will depreciate this asset as 10% on cost. So let's say in the very first year you will calculate your depreciation like this: $50,000 at 10%, 5,000 becomes your depreciation. So every year the depreciation will be $5,000. It will remain the same. That's the constant depreciation method because the cost will remain unchanged. So you will depreciate it as 5,000 every year. However, the net book value will change. Net book value can be defined as cost minus accumulated depreciation or the total depreciation. So in year one, the net book value will be $50,000 minus 5,000, that will be $45,000. In year 2, the cost is still 50,000, but now the accumulated depreciation is 5 plus 5, that is 10,000 is your accumulated depreciation. This becomes $40,000. Similarly, in year 3, I can say 50,000 minus 15,000 is my accumulated depreciation. That becomes $35,000. So the net book value will change, but the depreciation amount will be constant over the years. That's the straight line method. Okay, another method to calculate the straight line depreciation is using this equation that I've written this down. That is cost minus scrap upon useful life. This will also give you a constant amount. So we're saying is that if we know the cost of the asset and the scrap value or the residual value. So scrap value, residual value is the value at which you can sell this asset at the end of the life. All right. So at the end of the life, how much can you sell the asset for, and the life of the asset. So for example, if I buy an asset for 100,000 and I'm saying I can use it for 4 years, after which I can sell it for $10,000. So I can say I got it for 100. After 4 years, it can be sold for 10. My loss is 90,000, and this loss occurred evenly over time for 4 years. So if we just calculate this, we'll get our depreciation to be 22,500. That's an alternative method to calculate straight line method of depreciation, and I'm going to apply this in some questions in the later videos. All right, now let's move to the next method called the reducing balance method. Okay, now for the reducing balance method. Reducing balance method, unlike the straight line method, does not calculate depreciation on the cost. What it will do is, it will calculate depreciation on the carrying amount or the net book value. Alright, so under the reducing balance method, the depreciation will reduce every year. And the idea is that this method applies to assets that will lose a greater proportion of their efficiency or will be depreciated by a higher amount in the earlier years as opposed to the later years. So, for example, if I look at motor vehicle, I think for an asset like motor vehicle, we should use reducing balance method. The reason is that the loss for a motor vehicle will be the highest in the earlier years, and in the later years the maintenance cost will go up, so there is no need to show an expense twice. All right, so if you already have maintenance in the later years, you might reduce the depreciation amount, because see, depreciation again is an accounting expense, it's not actually happening, it's just being recorded in our statement. So it's more applicable to assets that will lose a greater proportion of their efficiency or depreciation in the earlier years as opposed to the later years. All right, so let me do the same example for fixtures and fittings. Remember, we got our fixtures and fittings for $50,000. And now let's say I'm depreciating this using the reducing balance method. I'm just going to write that down as RBM as 10%. So let's do our working again, year 1, year 2, year 3. Depreciation and the net book value. So for depreciation year 1 it will be the same, you just got it for 50,000 depreciated by 10%, that becomes 5,000. Your net book value will again be cost minus accumulated depreciation, so that's still 50 minus 5, that is 45,000 is your is your net book value after year 1. However, what will change is year 2. In year 2, you will now depreciate it not at the cost but at the net book value. So you will say my net book value is now 45,000. I'll depreciate it by 10%. That gives me 4,500. You can see my depreciation has reduced. It was 5,000 in year 1 and now it's 4,500. So this will be 50,000 minus accumulated depreciation of 9,500, that becomes 40,500 is my net book value in year 2. In the third year, now use this net book value 40,500 depreciated at 10%, you will get 4050. All right, so again now you can calculate your net book value as 50,000 minus the accumulated depreciation for these 3 years, and you should arrive at 36,450. All right, so what you guys can see is in the reducing balance method, your depreciation is reducing every year, and that's the basic principle over here, that the depreciation should be highest in the earlier years and it should reduce over time. And it's particularly suitable for assets such as motor vehicle, as mentioned earlier. Let's also briefly discuss the last method called the revaluation method. Okay, so the last method, revaluation method, is usually used when there are small items that make up your asset where you obviously cannot use straight line or reducing balance method. An example should be assets such as loose tools or auto repair parts or a wire cutting. Now, how do you calculate depreciation? So all we have to do is compare the starting value versus the ending value. So let's say at the start of the year we had some loose tools. Their starting value was $3,600. Now let's say during the year we bought some new loose tools. I can say there were some additions worth $1,600. And at the end of the year, what we can see is our ending value is $4,000. All right, let me give an ending value to be $4,000. How do you calculate depreciation? So you can say that you started with 3,600, you got new assets worth 1,600, their value should be 5,200. But at the end of the year, their ending value is $4,000. That means from 5,200 the value has decreased to 4,000. This loss in value of 1,200 will be your depreciation expense. Alright, so under the revaluation method, you should calculate your depreciation by comparing the starting value with any additions, any sale, and then compare it to the ending value to calculate the depreciation. Now in the next video, I'm going to do some questions where I'll teach you guys how to calculate depreciation under straight line reducing balance method, but using different depreciation policies.
Our complete A levels accounting course is waiting for you on our website. In addition to accounting, you can also find business, economics, maths, and 4 other full A level offerings. Join thousands of students who've already unlocked their potential. Visit All to Get Me right now.